At the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner in July 2026, Donald Trump floated an idea that immediately stopped the room. He joked about running for president again in 2028. The reaction split instantly. Supporters laughed it off as classic crowd work. Critics panicked, and news outlets scrambled to ask if he had somehow discovered a hidden constitutional loophole. But we should start with the clearest possible answer. Under current law, a third term is an absolute constitutional impossibility. The 22nd Amendment explicitly limits any person to 2 elected presidential terms. It is written plainly into the highest law of the land. That strict limit was added specifically because Franklin D. Roosevelt won 4 elections, breaking the informal 2-term tradition established by George Washington. Because Donald Trump has already been elected twice, the current written Constitution prohibits a third election victory entirely. Yet, that hasn't stopped the frantic online theories searching for a backdoor. One popular scenario suggests another candidate could run for president with Trump as their vice president, then resign after winning. This flowchart visualizes the line of succession, but the 12th Amendment shuts down that route. Anyone constitutionally ineligible to become president cannot serve as vice president. Others suggest entering the succession line as Speaker of the House, but that remains an unresolved academic theory. Inside an actual constitutional crisis, these theories would be challenged immediately. There is no straightforward, accepted legal route that allows a twice-elected president to simply return for another term. The clean route would be to amend the Constitution. That requires a 2/3 majority in both chambers of Congress, plus ratification by 3/4 of the states. Assembling that level of agreement today is mathematically nearly impossible. If the legal doors are completely welded shut, why does the third-term conversation continue? Because the legal barrier isn't the actual point. Floating unconstitutional ideas serves a specific function. It's a political weapon for testing boundaries. The pipeline begins with step 1, the joke. A leader introduces an illegal idea as humor. This lets them test the public's reaction with zero liability. If the reaction is widespread outrage, the leader can safely retreat. They simply claim everyone misunderstood the joke, and the news cycle moves on. If the joke receives cheers, it becomes step 2, the survey. The enthusiastic reaction proves that a willing constituency for this illegal idea actually exists. That data quickly morphs into tangible culture. What started as a theoretical slogan transitions directly into physical merchandise. Eventually, this cultural normalization leads to step 3, genuine demand. Supporters begin to actively vocalize a desire to abandon term limits altogether. This entire pipeline successfully bypasses the legal system. It takes a concept strictly restricted by the Constitution and turns it into a visible, normalized part of the daily political debate. Regardless of whether it succeeds legally, this strategy delivers massive political benefits. In a typical second term, a president becomes a lame duck as their influence fades. Constant talk of a future term keeps that influence from slipping away. It acts as a delay tactic. It forces current lawmakers to remember that their own careers may still depend on the president's ongoing approval. This leads to step 4, the loyalty test. Normalizing the rhetoric forces other politicians to answer questions about a third term on the record, effectively forcing them to align with or against the leader. Simultaneously, this environment encourages the base to actively imagine a political future where their preferred leader is simply never required to leave office. Political language can reshape party dynamics without describing a realistic or achievable policy. The conversation itself is the mechanism. By keeping an unconstitutional idea in the daily news cycle, the leader effectively locks themselves at the center of their party's future. Looking past the immediate political strategy reveals a systemic reality. A written constitution is not a magical object. The document itself cannot physically climb out of a museum display case and escort a president from the White House. Constitutional systems survive entirely through expectations. They rely on the military, the courts, and government officials expecting leaders to follow the rules and acting accordingly. The ultimate enforcer of these rules is the public. The system depends on the unwavering expectation that losing candidates will concede and that term limits will be respected. When those core public expectations weaken, the written law still remains on the page, that actually enforcing it becomes dangerously difficult. Voters naturally remove unpopular presidents from power, so term limits weren't designed for leaders everyone dislikes. Term limits exist specifically for highly popular leaders. They matter most when a leader remains powerful enough that millions of supporters would willingly make an exception to keep them in office. The deeper danger is that Americans may gradually view constitutional restrictions as negotiable. This diagram illustrates how a democracy's boundary decays. It begins as a joke. It degrades into an argument, it hardens into a loyalty test, and finally it becomes a genuine political demand. Democracies rarely abandon their boundaries all at once. They erode incrementally until the previous consensus is forgotten.